Hello and welcome to Love Hate Film, a show all about films good, bad and indeed ugly.
Yeah, whether you love them or you hate them, this is the place for you.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, a little bit of a set location change today. So I hope you like the new backdrop. You'll probably see this at some point again, but we'll probably be back to normal in the normal set sooner rather than later.
Yeah, a bit of a change of scenery for now though, of course with donning quite a nice little Darth Vader poster as opposed to the normal Marvel one, so happy days. Yeah.
Good, yeah.
Bit of a change of scenery, it's nice, isn't it?
It is, and to go with a change of scenery, we're also having a bit of change of format as well. So we're not doing a specific review today. Whenever you sign up to a new account in Love Hate Films, it asks you to list your top 5 loves and the top 5 hates of films. And today, as we are the patrons of LoveHateFilms.com, we're going to list our top 5 loves. So we'll do a countdown from 5 to 1. And you can comment below, say whether you love them, whether you hate them. We always want to know what you say, so tell us what you think.
Yeah, that's it. And as I say, comments down below, and comments of course on Love Hate Film, link in the description. But coming in at our top number 5 today, we're going to go for our loves.
Yep.
And just to kick us off at number 5, my personal love for this film, Stranger Than Fiction.
Okay, so I must admit, not seen it, don't know a lot about it, so tell us.
There we are. So it's based around without any spoilers, a man whose life is determined by almost somewhat of a ghostwriter. Fantastic cast. It's got Emma Thompson, it's got Will Ferrell, Maggie Gyllenhaal, but there's just a few scenes in it, and it's this almost sort of transformation. It almost takes it back into almost like a strange 80s John Hughes. You almost got a message from it, a little bit like you did from Breakfast Club, that feel-good feeling at the end. There's a great scene with Will Ferrell. He's sort of this uptight accountant. Maggie Gyllenhaal's the sort of, love interest in all of this. And he ends up whipping out the guitar. It's a fantastic performance of a song called The Whole Wide World by Reckless Rick. Just all round, it's a 10 for me. You can't go wrong. It's quite, as in the title, it is stranger than fiction. Right. It's a strange movie, but nonetheless very enjoyable.
Oh, good it. Yeah. So, one to put on your list to watch. So my number 5 is, you've literally just referenced it, so it is John Hughes film. It is The Breakfast Club. I absolutely love it. I first saw it when I was a teenager, and I could relate to some of those stereotypes, absolutely. I knew people like those characters.
So who was were you the bender, would you say?
I would say, no, I'm not a bender.
You're not a bender? No. Pete is not a bender.
Just have that on the record. And yeah, my favourite was Mr. Earring. I thought he was great, he was really good. Judd Nelson in probably his only good performance he's ever done, but Don't You Forget About Me, classic song as well. I even had a Simple Minds poster. There you go, what can you do? So for me, I loved it. Obviously we don't have the same sort of detention in the UK as you do in America. Nobody goes to school on a Saturday morning in the UK ever, I don't think.
No.
And rightly so.
Unless you're enthusiastic, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, who knows?
Yeah, fair play if you are. But funny enough, a little bit of a Kevin Bacon game here then. So you're bringing out the Judd Nelson reference.
Yep.
You say he didn't do much. He did do Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, which of course then he was up against, funny enough, Will Ferrell.
Oh, was he?
The star of my film. So our two number 5s have a little tenuous link there. Yeah. Years later, but still.
Good link. I did not know that.
There you go. He has a cameo as a cop, like a backcountry sort of roughneck, sort of foul mouth, go fuck yourself kind of no bullshit guy. Fantastic role. He changes evidently from the earring sporting lout
rebel
to just basically that with a badge, which
good it.
There you go.
So moving on to number 4 then. Who's your number 4?
In at number 4 for me. Now this one might be slated a little bit, and by all means bring it in the comments. Masters of the Universe. For those of you in the UK who have witnessed the advert for, I don't even care, it's a comparative market quite popular at the moment, bringing back a bit of a dirty dancing routine involving two of my favourite characters of all time. My only thing is go fuck yourself. But that aside, fantastic film. Dolph Lundgren kicked off the career of Courtney Cox before Friends. I mean, definitely some questionable scenes, but going a little bit back to what you were saying about childhood sort of feel, for me, it takes me back to the happy time, really.
Yeah, I must admit, I did like the cartoon. I thought the cartoon was awesome. It was an okay film. I've watched it many a time.
Yeah.
It definitely wouldn't be in my top 10, let alone my top 5, but I can see the appeal of childhood nostalgia. Why not, eh?
Exactly.
Why not, indeed? My number 4, slightly different. It's part of the name of the website and the blogs and videos that you're watching, the shows that we make. So it's Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee film. My personal favourite character in it is Radio Raheem, and he has his love and his hate rings, and he carries his big oversized music system on his shoulder everywhere that he goes, plays his tunes, and is the instigator of the riot and gets murdered by the police, but which probably happens quite a lot where he comes from. But for me, Love Hate Films named after Radio Raheem's rings, so, and I love the film. I don't think there's anything not hate about it. I just think it's pure class all the way, and rightly so. Launched the career of Spike Lee. Brilliant film, absolutely brilliant.
There you are, and which I suppose leads us conveniently on to number 3. I tell you what, just to switch up the order a little bit, why don't you tell us your number 3?
Yeah, my number 3 is The Matrix, the first Matrix film. I'm a big sci-fi fan. I don't know if you could tell. And for me, it encompassed not only the sci-fi element, but also the martial arts. I'm a big martial arts fan as well. Bruce Lee is an icon, and then Neo in it is excellent in I know Kung Fu, which is good.
Yeah, for me it's a bit of a comfort food film, admittedly. Although admittedly it is the only film where Keanu Reeves isn't a bumbling sort of surfer dude who knows too much or doesn't know enough. Yeah, so to me it did fit a bill of, it was a bit of an evolution as an actor.
It was his one and only good film. Well, not good film, sorry. His one and only proper good role, I think. I mean, he was great in Bill and Ted's, but
it's not controversy alarm right now.
Definitely not.
Point Break.
But yeah, Point Break. He was. Yeah, okay, I'll give you Point Break. I agree with that.
He couldn't shoot Swayze. Bah!
Yeah, okay, 2 good films. But the reason I like this is because when I was old enough to earn money for the first time, I went out and bought my first ever DVD player, which was a Sony DAV S300, still one of the best DVD players money can buy. And this was the film I got with it. And the DVD player cost me £700 brand new, back when things like that were expensive. And I watched this for the first time on my DVD experience, and it blew me away, from the surround sound to the stunning effects which they created bullet time for. In every way, blew me away as a film. Never forgot it, and that would be a memory I cherish, which is why it's in my top 5.
Brilliant, fantastic.
A good number 3.
Yeah. Although I don't know if mine is going to top it. My number 3, Casino.
No, good film. I like Casino. I like it a lot. Prefer Goodfellas, but I like Casino.
Yeah, that's fair. Although, I mean, the directing style for me, it's typical Scorsese. It's Scorsese in a nutshell. You watch anything afterwards, it follows the same formula. You watch The Departed, you watch Wolf of Wall Street. It's the same sort of fantastic soundtrack, like excessive drug use.
Great monologues.
Yeah, although, once again, what was a 90s tough guy, Joe Pesci, I don't know if I'd be intimidated in this day and age. I mean, I'm a lover, not a fighter, but...
Well, they're all coming back in The Irishman, so you've got De Niro, Scorsese and Pesci again, so we'll see how well they do out of that one. I've got a funny feeling it's going to be awesome.
Exactly. I mean, spoiler alert for that film, because, you know, we've had a little background info. They're going to bludgeon somebody to death rather than metal baseball bats like at the end of Casino. Sorry, spoiler alert there. it's going to be Zimmer frames, and then they're going to dispose of the body on a stair lift. You watch, it'll be a hit.
It'll be massive, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So,
and then
good number 3.
Yeah. But conveniently leading on to number 2.
So, my number 2, and this is out of order for the actual release of the films, but my number 2 is Star Wars: A New Hope, Episode 4. So, massive Star Wars fan. I have never forgot and never will forget watching it for the first time, and it just blew me away. I didn't really get into it from the opening scenes because it had the scroll, and at the time I wasn't old enough to be able to read that properly, so I didn't really know what was going on. But the minute the Star Destroyer comes over and above, I was hooked, as I'm sure many people were. But it's just an iconic moment in cinema. It's an iconic moment in my life, and that's why it's most definitely number 2.
Yeah.
Because it's a great film, and it just sparks my interest not only in films but sci-fi, just everything. That's where it all started for me.
And yeah, no, I totally agree, and particularly when you're in the cinema, I know what you mean about the opening credits. There's a moment that, I mean, even when we went to see The Last Jedi, piece of shit, even when we went to go and see that, there was this moment of just, we sat there, a long time ago, in a galaxy far away, you take a deep breath, and then the crescendo hits. And there's something about the originals that, before they remastered it, it's a little bit like when you hear the old Universal theme tune, or if you hear the old 21st, in fact, not even 21st century Fox, the old, like, 20th century. Yeah.
Back in the Stone Age.
It just sends a shiver up your spine, and then boom.
Yeah, every time you see it without fail, you're straight back there again. Great nostalgia.
Yeah, exactly.
Great film.
And actually, on the number 2 front, interestingly enough, Empire.
Is that your number 2?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. We've had a little bit of a reshuffle on this train of thought, but absolutely Empire. Same principle, same things apply, of course.
What makes that better than A New Hope then? In your opinion?
Now, I do want to go into this a little bit at some point, but it's a sequel factor. It's almost the number 2. If you love number 1, you're going to love number 2, but you're not going to quite love number 3. There's a few films that this works for. Godfather, Star Wars, I do feel is one of them, but for me, it was almost the encapsulating more than the dark side. We got to explore that, the character exposition of different planets. You know, so far we saw a bit of a dusty planet, and we've seen a lot of space and a bit of greenery, which is great, you know, for a first film. A film that they never actually thought would really take off the ground, in all honesty. But by the time you got to the second, God, you had magical Ming on Dagobah. You had Cloud City. Of course, you had Lando Calrissian, of course, the coolest guy in the galaxy.
He is indeed. See, that's funny because my number 1 is actually Empire Strikes Back, and the reason I like it is, it is a little bit darker, much better character evolution and explanations of, not necessarily at the beginning backstory, but then the biggest drop in cinema history of Luke, I am your father. That's it, you know, that's an iconic moment again, one that will live with you forever. And I suppose a lot of people would share the opinion that Empire is better than Star Wars, probably because it's got a better director. Controversy aside, I know people love George Lucas, but it just was a better film because it had that darker edge, and because it was much better put together. I think it worked a lot better than Star Wars, because Star Wars was easy, not necessarily easy to direct, but it was a definite adventure, even though it was in space and not really done that way before, and it was groundbreaking for that. But it's followed a very organised fairy tale scripting.
Yeah, with enough lightsabers and everything else thrown in between.
Yeah, and that was the new cutting edge part of it, but the actual basics of lost boy comes good, saves the world, you know, that's an age old fairy tale.
Sure.
And obviously Lucas himself has admitted that he's based it mostly on Japanese films that he loved. So.
And this is conveniently taking me onto my number 1 spot, because you've just hit the nail on the head there with Japanese films, and with any film for that matter. The word is film, and really, where did it start? And for me, my number one, it's a biopic, believe it or not, and it is a film called Chaplin, based on the life and times of the famous Charlie Chaplin, of course.
Yeah. Robert Downey Jr. plays Mr. Chaplin. Does very well, I have to say. Very good.
Mila Jovovich gets both of them out, which, one for the lads, as you do. So, no, it on a serious front, it was directed by Richard Attenborough before his family passing. Was it actually fairly recently, or has he been
yeah,
gone a
not
few
too
years?
recently. But yeah, I mean, obviously long before he decided that he was going to buy an island and fill it full of dinosaurs.
Of course, yeah. Look. Do.
But yeah, it is a good film, you're right. And there's lots of... I like the way that in the middle of it they go into a Chaplin style sound. No talking, just music. Comedy slapstick part right in the middle of the film, which it does do well to pay homage to Chaplin. But it tells you a lot about him as well as an individual. And one thing that I didn't know is the controversy he was involved in with the murder.
And of course the sort of McCarthy inquiry and sort of the Reds, and the fact that he is a British treasure, but then he's an American treasure, but then they didn't want him. He left one day on the boat, and that was it.
Yeah.
Little telegram, please do not return. Unless you're coming back for the Oscars, in which case we're going to then honour you years later when you are old, decrepit, and not able to do an awful lot.
Well, you say not able to do an awful lot. He fathered his last child at the age of 70, I think, or over 70, and he had like 9 kids or something. So he done well out of that. He certainly wasn't that decrepit in his old age.
Yeah, his investments must have served him well. Maybe even in some blue tablets somewhere. Who knows? After the film industry. But as I say, it's a stellar cast. It's a good film all in all. It's a good feel film. And funny enough, speaking of cast, nice little tidbits in there. Geraldine Chaplin, his granddaughter, I believe, is in it playing her, I suppose, great grandmother, would it be? Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, she plays Charlie Chaplin's mother within it.
Good.
Yeah, does absolutely brilliantly. Sort of set back in sort of the dockside of London, and then you go to the glitz and glamour of Hollywood back in the day when it was nothing more than film lots were on in the middle of fields. You go now, and of course it's just littered with streets and people and everything else. There's just something beautiful about it. There's just something quite simplistic that it's why we do what we do now, for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's a nice homage to it.
Yeah, good. A nice number one. So, that's our top 5 loves. Either love them or hate them. Leave a comment and tell us what you think. Even better than that, go to the website, LoveHateFilms.com, create your own profile and add your top 5 loves. And also it'll ask you for your top 5 hates as well. Put that in and start reviewing your own films and tell us what you think.
Absolutely. Please guys, do comment below. And once again, shout out to Shawnee Boy and Simon. We know you're gonna. Thank you very much. But anybody else, anyone in the world,
tell us.
We know you're out there. Yeah.
Excellent. Right. Well, thank you very much for your time and goodbye.
Ciao.